Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Mordy and Glory video. Today's episode is going to be another quick tip tactica and we're going to be exploring a crunchy combo this time. Let me ask you a question. Do you like the idea of getting most of the benefits of Lord Solar Leontus without having to include that overpriced Age of Sigmar wannabe model? If your answer was yes, then stay tuned because this is the video for you. And if your answer was no, then stay tuned anyway. Please, I'm desperate. I went on another drunken eBay binge and now I've got another 400 orcs turning up and I've only got one tin of baked beans to last me until Christmas and I'm really hungry and I really need that ad revenue. So, where was I? Oh yes, today's video is all about the Creed command blob. So recently, I have been doing lots of tournament reports, and a staple unit in most of my tournament army lists has been what I call the Supreme Command Blob. This is where you take Lord Solar Leontus, you attach him to an infantry squad or a cash-down squad, some sort of cheap battle line thing, and then you also attach a platoon command squad there. Now I'm just going to head off an inevitable comment which I get every single time. Every battle report, every list, every tournament report, someone leaves this comment. But you can't attach two leaders to an infantry squad. If that was you, if you were about to type that, then shame on you. You shame us, sir. You disgrace us, sir. Read the data sheet. Because it specifically says that on the infantry squad datasheet and all the other battle lines that this unit can have two leaders attached to it, but only one of those can be a command squad. That means you can have a command squad and another officer. It means you can have two other officers. You can have two Helens leading one infantry unit if you wanted to. There's no benefit to, but you could do. You can have two leaders, one of those, up to one of those can be a command squad, and then you can have another leader if you want to. So yes, let's put it to bed now. You can have Lord Solar Leontus and a command squad in the same unit. All right. Now, but it doesn't need to be the Lord Solar. Because another comment that gets left every single time that I use the Lord Solar Supreme Command Blob is, I hate the fact that the Lord Solar is an auto-include, that you have to use them in every single list. And you know what? That is a totally valid comment, because you don't want to feel like you're having your arm twisted into using a unit just to make your army a bit more efficient. I mean, 40k is essentially pay to win, but no one likes to say the quiet part out loud and wants to feel like they have to buy something. You probably already spent lots of your hard-earned cash and time and money painting these things up. You want to be able to use the army that you originally planned. I get that. So this is where we bring in the budget Supreme Command Blob. It's not really you can't really call it a Supreme Command Blob if it's a budget one. It's like the Wish.com Alibaba Supreme Command Blob. We'll just call it the budget Command Blob. Okay. This is where you take the idea that you can attach two officers to a squad and you can project those orders at 24 inches, but you don't rely upon the Lord Solar. You can do the same thing and get a much cheaper combination by using Creed. Now, whether you've got the old metal daddy Creed model like me and you're a bit of a longbeard, or you're a greenhorn who's got the new lady Creed model, it really doesn't matter. Both are absolutely fantastic in their own right. The Creed data sheet is a genuinely good one. In fact, I think it's been unjustly overshadowed by the Lord Solar. You get a model that for only 55 points, that is a 70-point discount over the Lord Solar, can do two orders and can also give you a free stratagem each turn. Now, because this is not a named stratagem, it has to be a battle tactic one, which essentially means you get free fields of fire. Now, that's not a bad thing, because extra fields of fire means extra AP, and you can use fields of fire on Creed for free, and you can also use fields of fire again, because the way that the ability is worded is it says you can use this ability to get a free stratagem even if it has already been played. So you could spend 2 CP on fields of fire and then use Creed to get fields of fire again for potentially 2 sources of extra AP. Now, either you're going to double down and you're going to spread all the AP love around, or more likely, you're just going to use it to get Fields of Fire for free once. This means that whilst the Lord Solar gives you that extra CP, and that CP can be used on any stratagem, Reed, if you use her ability for Fields of Fire every single turn, is giving you indirectly, pseudo as it were, an extra 2 CP. The end result of this, if you just swap out the Lord Solar for Creed, is you've still got a blob of infantry that can do 3 orders, because don't forget you've got the platoon command squad, at 24-inch range, and you have got CP shenanigans, and you are saving 70 points. But I know what you're thinking. I can already hear the Cheeto dust flying off the fingers and off the keyboard as people slam down in the comments section. But Mordian, the Lord Solar, brings so much to the table. He has the redeploy, and he can order any unit out there. Creed can only order infantry. Well, this is very true. Couple of things though. This may just be my experience, and I am fully prepared to be lambasted and just raked over the coalfires for this, but I have found that the Lord Solar's redeploy is a lot less useful in 10th than it was in 9th. And this is because, and this is how it was explained to me by tournament organizers and other people I know, so again, let me know if I'm wrong, but the Lord Solar's redeploy has to be done before you know who is going first. Before you roll the dice to find out, you have to say, I've got some redeploys. For a lot of armies, this isn't such a big problem. Maybe you've gone a bit Billy Big Bollocks and you deployed a few early units on the line, but you can see that your opponent's counter-deployed, so you end up using the redeploy before you find out who's going first to bring them back and put them behind some spare space behind the inevitable L-shaped ruins and Loz blockers that are in redeployment zone. But with Guard, that's not really an option because we're a Horde army and we've got a lot of stuff. So what you tend to find is you hide all your important stuff early on, and then the bits that you can't hide end up being low priority that are out in the open. And sure, the redeploy is maybe nice to put them in strategic reserves, but that has its own pros and cons. So sometimes you need to have stuff on the board from the get-go. Putting it in reserve might mean that it gets screened out, or it's just not where you want it to be as part of your game plan. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I haven't found the Lord Solar's redeploy anywhere near as useful, and it's not something that I overly factor into my game plan, but this could just be a me problem. But the other thing was, well, the Lord Solar can order any unit like super heavies and abhumans, units that can't normally receive orders. And whilst that is true, you have to ask yourself, are you including those units in your army? If you're going to a tournament, you're probably not going to take a Guard Super Heavy. Not because the Super Heavy is bad, but because the terrain is so unconducive to Guard Super Heavies that it's probably not going to leave your deployment zone. It won't physically be able to move past the tiny, narrow channels that are available for vehicle movement. And likewise, Bulgarin are not a great unit. The fact that they only have a 4+ save, even if it's an invulnerable save, just isn't good enough in 10th edition. Just no way, Jose, is it good enough. And Ogren are fun, but Ogren are best used when they're inside a Chimera. And you don't need the Lord Solar to order a Chimera. That's just a regular squadron vehicle. It can receive regular vehicle orders.
Attention, Guardsmen. This is an announcement by the Departamento Militarum. Element Games is an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. They offer up to 20% off Warhammer 40k and 10% off bolt action and other game systems. Use the link down in the description to save money and support the channel. Anyone not using the link will be referred to the local commissariat. Also, don't forget that if you use referral code TIM3921, then you will receive double store credit, saving even more money on your future purchases. That's all for now. Fallout!
And finally, the Lord Solar does give you that extra CP. And we've kind of spoken about how that is equivalent to Creed giving you Fields of Fire for free. But the extra CP alone does give you a bit of flexibility. But it's not as big as you think. The two go-to stratagems in the Guard are Reinforcements and Fields of Fire. that tends to be the ones that get played the most. They're the biggies because they give you troops back, which can swing games. It's getting loads of free hits, and extra AP is vital in a game which has had a lot of AP taken out of it. But if you take the Lord Solar, you're getting 3 CP in a battle round. That's only enough to do one or the other of those 2 CP strats. But if you take Creed, you get to do Fields of Fire for free, and you get 2 CP a battle round, which is still enough to do reinforcements. If your game plan is built around leveraging those strats, then Creed's actually the better choice. Of course, it is remiss of me not to say that whilst the Lord Solar isn't generating as much overall CP and pseudo CP, you can use that extra CP however you want. There is a bit more flexibility there. But like I said, if your game plan is built around those 2 very common, very powerful stratagems, they're the ones that realistically, if you're really honest with yourself, they're the ones you're using as your bread and butter. Creed actually lets you use both. Now, even with us stacking all of these positives up in favor of Creed, there is one thing that inescapably we can't get away from. One thing she can't overcome on her own, which is Creed can't order vehicles, and the Lord Solar can. So even if you're not taking the big boys like the super heavies, he can still order around like 3 Leman Russes and Rogel Dawns, stuff like that. But ask yourself this question: were you already taking those Russes in your list? If the answer is yes, then just consider the fact that the Lord Solar costs 125 points. The average cost of a Leman Russ is 180. If it's like a Demolisher, it's 200. Well, wouldn't it have been cheaper to take some of those Russes that you were already putting into your army and upgrade the tank commanders? If you were running a Leman Russ Demolisher, it will cost you 5 points. That is 120 points cheaper to make it a tank commander instead. If you then spend 15 points on Grand Strategist to make a tank commander do 2 orders, that is still gonna save you over 100 points. And you get 2 vehicle orders. Sure, you don't get 3 like the Lord Solar does, but you get 2 vehicle orders. So if you take Creed instead of the Lord Solar, you save 70 points. If you then take 20 of those points and make a Demolisher that, like I said, very, very common tank variant in the Guard, most people include it in their list, and you upgrade that tank to a tank commander with Grand Strategist, you're still saving 50 points, and now you have got a total of 5 orders. 2 vehicle orders on the tank commander, and you've also got 3 orders from Creed and the Platoon Command Squad. That is more orders than the Lord Solar and his command squad, which can do 4. 1 for the Platoon Command Squad and 3 from the Lord Solar, and you're still saving 50 points. And 50 points goes a long way in his Imperial Guard. You can upgrade a lot of units with 50 points. If you're taking a bunch of Cadians, they can now be Kriegers. If you were taking a Castellan, it can now be a Death Corps Marshal. If you're taking a bunch of Field Ordnance Batteries, it can now be Basilisks that require less orders to look after. So it's some other knock-on point savings there. Maybe you're filling your motor pool out with a Hellhound. Well, now you can take a proper Leman Russ, and maybe you were taking a Leman Russ, but it's one of the more budget options like the Vanquisher or the Eradicator. Well, don't worry, you've got enough points to upgrade that into a proper tank. It's most of an infantry squad, if you're looking at Catch and Jungle Fighters, and it's 2 entire Cyclops demolition vehicles, which are a brilliant way of doing those sneaky secondaries like behind enemy lines and deploy teleporter homer at a very, very reasonable price point. Like I said, 50 points goes a long way in the Guard if you're smart with it. So in summary, the Lord Solar is a brilliant unit, and it's hard to deny that. But there are ways of recreating a lot of what he brings to the battlefield, a lot of the realistic impact he is going to have, whilst also making some significant points savings. But all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think that the Creed command blob has some merit, or are you better off just sticking with that Lord Solar? If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. It really, really does help. I have no idea how the YouTube algorithm works. All I know is, like the Golden Throne is fed from the souls of Psychers, the YouTube algorithm feeds on the souls of the like button. Also, if you want to see more content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, and they have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a big shout out to Bon Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Thank you guys so much. Your incredible generosity is a massive part of how I'm able to do Mordian Glory full time, and it is a big driving force behind the channel. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.